I'm having some complicated feelings today, a mixture of happiness, excitement, but also worry, a bit cautious and oddly homesick. It's our first time flying in 2 years and we are in KLIA Airport. Can you see that flight board right behind me? No? Oh, it's the aperture, isn't it? Let me just turn the aperture right down. Okay, now it's too dark. Turn the ISO right up. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Good evening, foodies. I'm Wilun.
I'm good.
Welcome to the Gourmet Plate. We're flying today from Kuala Lumpur to Paris, France, and we're going to fly with Qatar Airways on business class because we're rolling in the dough. No, actually we just exchanged all our accumulated credit card points for the tickets, so yeah, definitely not rolling in the dough. Please continue to support us. It's not a direct flight, we're actually transiting through Doha. So the plan for this food vlog is going to be to explore the foods, probably starting from the lounge and then on the flight as well. I believe we will have 2 meals, right? Because we have 2 legs. Yeah, and then I don't know if we have enough time to try something in Doha during our transit because the transit is relatively short. I think it's like 1 or 2 hours. I don't know if you are ready, but we surely are super excited. So let's check in our luggage first. When we first arrived at the departure area, there was like quite a lot of passengers, but once you get past the checkpoint, it's pretty empty. I barely see a soul aside from the staff here. So I think it's going to take quite a while for travel to get back on track, especially since with the discovery of the new variant. Anyway, we're going to quickly check into the premier lounge. We'll probably grab a quick bite over there before we board the plane. Let's go check that out. Okay guys, we're finally at Plaza Premium Lounge. It seems that they're running on a very stripped down version. I think it's due to the current pandemic. So the lounge looks as it is very nice. And I think there are not too many passengers today. But the food, the options are actually pretty alright. But they have changed it where you don't really get that buffet spread style. So you order at the counter, there's this glass separating you and the staff. I think it's very good. It keeps the passenger and the staff safe. They've got a few selection of food. But of course we're in Kuala Lumpur, so we went with some nasi lemak, we got some curry noodles, and we got some roti canai with curry chicken. So let's start with the noodles first because the noodles might get soggy. In order for us to save time, I'm going to try the noodle while Quet tries the broth. It was surprisingly decent. The broth, right?
Yeah, the broth decent, but a bit light to me lah.
It's a very simplified version. Mainly it's salty savouriness, and I think there's some shrimpiness, right? The noodles are definitely a tad overcooked, but I like the fact that they added the fried bean curd as well as a boiled egg, and the bowl is not too large, so it doesn't make you feel sluggish. It's really not bad for a lounge. Alright, moving on. Nasi lemak. Grab some sambal, put on the rice, grab some of that kacang, ikan bilis, and let's try it out. I hope the rice is fragrant. I would say decent again. Sweetish chili, slightly spicy. The peanuts and the anchovies are very fresh, and the rice lacks a little bit of fragrance, but it's definitely nasi lemak. You can actually taste the coconut milk fragrance. I think it's really decent. Again, this is because it's an airport lounge food. Generally, it's not that good. I would say I think they improve. This is a very decent nasi lemak. The rendang is very salty, but the spiciness is there. It's pretty decent. I think it's a good representation of our nasi lemak and curry laksa. It's pretty decent. Let's go for the roti canai now.
The canai is
I think it's tough, right?
yeah,
Because I saw when
tough and oily.
But the curry is not bad. It's very coconut milky. Curry is decent, not really spicy. We're gonna finish this up. We're gonna board the plane. Let me see if I can give you guys a quick seat tour of the plane. It's our first time flying with Qatar on business. So yeah, let's go. See you guys in a bit. First impression, pretty spacious, I gotta say, really spacious. I mean, compared to our last flight with JL, my goodness, there's a huge difference, right? Look at this, look at this. Look at my legs. They're here. And this is the standing area. And we've got another area over here as well. Got a side table over here. I'm gonna place my bags later, but we've got another sort of like a sitting area over here. Open it up. And we've got some sort of storage. You've got your headphones here. You've got your drink over here. And I think that's about it. And obviously today is a good day. Great, that's a pillow, right? That's a pillow. Over here, this is our TV. It's actually pretty large. I think this is probably like 20 inches, at least maybe 22 inches. Not too sure. Pretty nice. Alright, over here are your seat controls, your light control. And these are your, I think, your sockets for your USB cables. Over here is your remote control for your television screen. Hey guys, we're actually preparing to take off and we're asked to look at the menu over here. They've got quite a good selection. There's bread, there's soup, there's appetizers, you have mains. You've got a few options as well. You've got cheese platters, dessert, and you've got snack options. I'm going to try as much as I can and we'll see after we take off. Alright, now we're really taking off and I'm going to share a secret with you guys. Actually, I do not fancy flying because it just gives me the jibbies, especially when we're taking off or landing. Anyway, the lights have dimmed. Let's take off. Okay guys, the first course, the appetizers we serve. I've got some soup here. It's a coconut lemongrass soup. We've got a bread as well. I don't know what kind of bread this is. It looks sort of like a brioche. And we've got some of those condiments to go along with it. I'm going to start with the soup first. Oh, Santani is basically coconut milk. And it's exactly as you mentioned, coconut milk with lemongrass. Moderately creamy, pretty watery, but I quite like the flavor. It's light, and at the same time pretty refreshing. It doesn't bog you down. I do think it's a good start. Let me try a bit of this bread. I'm gonna try the bread as it is. Texture is a little bit tough, like slightly wheaty. There's a bitterness to it. Alright, I've got 4 types of dressing for the bread. I'm gonna start off with the butter first. Butter is decent. The bread is just tough. Let me just try some of those dressing. I'll just go with tomato and chili. The dip is good. Vinegar, spicy from the chili. Nobody have tomato though, but that makes the bread so much better. Good dip. I'm really sorry, I noticed the flickering of the light. I've tried changing it to 24 fps, I've tried changing it to 35 fps, but it's still flickering. Bear with me guys, I'm so sorry about this. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up and I think the main course is coming. So, see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, appetizer number 2, we've got some tapas. They've got here some rojak with cashew nuts, some tomato and feta cheese. I think this over here is some olives. And we've got some garlic bread as well. So I'm going to try some of this garlic bread as it is. Fragrant, a little bit grainy, sort of like a digestive biscuit kind of texture. I'm going to try some of that rojak. Wow, you can definitely taste the rojak sauce, the flavor of what we call the haircore, the fermented shrimp sauce. And it's sort of watered down, which works fantastic with this, because you can still taste the freshness of the fruits and all the flavors of the apple, pineapple, and then nut gives it a nice chew. What about that tomato with feta cheese? Oh, cheese is salty, a little bit pungent. The tomato though is refreshing. It's sweet, but it's also sour at the same time. I like this. Very quickly try it out, that olive. It's good. Alright, main course, fried rice with a side of roasted beef and vegetables. They have turned off the lights. I think they are preparing for the passengers to sleep. We're going to quickly speed this up. Let me try the fried rice together with the beef straight on. Sauce is pretty sweet. It's sort of like a mixture of maybe barbecue, a bit of onion, and maybe Worcester sauce. Rice is a damn mushy. You don't really taste that much fragrance on the rice. Beef is moderately tender, not the most tender I've had. It's an alright dish, nothing too special. Yeah, I think that's it. Rather mediocre main dish. Let us move on to desserts. This is the Sri Kaya cake with mango. Okay, I think these are like coconut shavings and there's a cake underneath. I'm guessing it's a kaya or pandan cake together with mango. So let us just cut in, give this a go. Surprisingly decent. Coconutty, moderately sweet, and the mango is got this nice refreshing sourness, so it contrasts really well with the sweetness of the cake. I think this might be the best item of the entire meal. It's very decent. Very decent. Yep. Cake is moist. Pretty good end to the meal. My god guys, this place looks much livelier compared to KIA. We are at the Hamad International Airport in Doha and we are going to be here for I think about 2 hours, and they've got all sorts of shops open. They've got Harrods, they've got a ghost shop, and they've got like even this like pretty steampunk looking playground. And we also saw that there seems to be a food court nearby, right? I saw it. So not saying that we're definitely going to eat because I'm quite full and I'm actually really tired. But we're going to take a look. Let's go. I know I mentioned that we might not be eating, but I got greedy. I looked at the menu that Harrods has to offer, and I think Harrods is from UK, right? So we ordered some fish and chips. It's quite a generous portion. We've got some mashed peas, some tartar sauce, and we've got some beautiful chips right here underneath. And this piece of fish looks pretty huge. It's quite crunchy too, but it does look fairly thick battered. We've got this nice lemon here that you are supposed to, I think, just squeeze and sprinkle on that fish. Let us quickly do that. Very quickly cut into the fish. Let's break it open and see. Oh, the flesh is nice and white. Crispy, lemon sourness. Fish is okay. I think it's a little bit too thickly breaded though. Fish is really tender. There's some tartar sauce. Creamy, real sweetness with a nice sourness. Oh, it makes it so much better. How about the mashed pea? Mashed pea is good. It's got a nice crunch to it. You could still taste the pea flavor, and they're not fully mashed. They're just like semi-mashed. Pretty refreshing. In contrast to that fish. How about chips though? Chips are alright. Moderately crunchy, salted. A little bit of potato flavor. Not the best chips though. Not the best chips. They're still warm. Definitely fresh. I think pretty decent fish and chips. I've not had fish and chips in a long time. But definitely not British standards, I guess. It's alright. Yeah. Okay guys, we finally boarded. This looks to be a slightly more aged plane, but the things are roughly the same. Space is still pretty spacious. So we just have fish and chips. I don't know if I can do supper, but yeah, but it looks pretty interesting. They've got a 6-course tasting menu, but I'm really tired, like really tired. So we'll see what happens later. Anyway, we're going to prepare for takeoff. And what is quite hiding behind the menu? Can you please show us that? Yes, okay. Alright guys, I know I shouldn't have ordered, but I did, and this is their 6-course tasting menu. They got some vegetable, some Arabic bread, some soup, cheese, assortment of cheese. I think this is some sort of chocolate dessert and some chicken shawarma, I think. So we're gonna start with the soup. Oh, it's quite a creamy soup. Okay, let's go. Oh, it's very salty. Very salty. A bit sort of like some form of lobster bisque. It tastes pretty prawny. Very, very salty. Oh goodness. Too salty. Next, I'm gonna try and deep sour that bread and see if we could cut down that saltiness. Bread is a little bit chewy. Oh man, the soup is still too salty. Yep, definitely too salty. Bread is pretty decent. Gotta very quickly try that chicken shawarma. Yeah, bread is a little bit tough. Chicken inside is not too dry. Not the best shawarma I've had. Not exactly very tasty, but it's alright. Gonna try this. I'm not too sure what it is. I'm guessing some form of vegetable. The form of vegetable mix, decent, a little bit refreshing. But the rest of the stuff is just... it's pretty mediocre. Okay, I think I'm going to skip the cheese and go straight into the... it's like a chocolate tart, isn't it? There we go. Probably the best thing out of the entire plate. Dark chocolate. Biscuit is chocolate as well, I think. Pretty crunchy. The dark chocolate inside is rich, not too sweet. Not too bitter. I think it's got a nice balance. Yep, I don't think I'm going to finish this. Really, really mediocre aside from dessert. So I guess that's it, guys. Gonna really try and sleep now, and probably see you guys when we arrive at Paris.
Hi guys!
We have checked into our hotel.
Yep.
Actually, we were checked in for quite a while, but we decided to go out and look for some miscellaneous pastries, some croissants.
Now we are transferring some files.
Yeah, onto our laptop. I've checked the footage and definitely there's flickering issues. I apologize on the flight videos. Okay, about the flight experience with Qatar Airways, absolutely enjoyable flight on their Q suite, right? The business class. I think the service is very good and it's really, really spacious. Yeah, I was super impressed. The food though, I would say it's serviceable. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for our food vlog for today. Hope you enjoyed this food vlog. If you enjoyed it, do consider giving us a thumbs up. If you're yet to subscribe, do consider subscribing and hit that notification bell button. See you guys next episode in Paris.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.